all right. I am back with another petty pop up. Real heavy on the petty. I'm just here to state my petty opinion. Everything said in this video is alleged and, in my opinion, and used for educational and entertaining purposes. All right, y'all ready for some more House of the Dragon? This is season 2, episode 4. The Red Dragon and the Gold. It's heating up, y'all. It's heating up, y'all. So let's go. We start off with the opening scene where Daemon is hearing these voices again. The person is speaking in like High Valerian and he can't understand what they're saying. And I was like, well, if every, why can't he understand what they're saying? But anyway, we find out that it is Rhaenyra, and they're in the throne room where she is telling him that, you created me and now you're set on destroying me, all because your brother loved me more than he did you. So Daemon pulls out his sword and beheads Rhaenyra. So her head falls to the floor. The crown clatters on the floor where Rhaenyra says, "This is what you always wanted." And then, of course, he wakes up because, of course, he's been having these visions, and he wakes up to Sir Simon informing him that there has been a raven. So Damon gets up and he follows Sir Simon Strong, who updates him on the recent developments, on the Army of the Green. So House Stokeworth and House Rosby have both recanted their fealty to Rhaenyra and pledged their allegiance to King Aegon. They all said that the assassination of Prince Jaehaerys was the reason for it. So Simon also tells him that Oscar Tully, who is grandson of Lord Grover Tully and heir to River Run, is there to meet with Daemon. So while they're sitting there talking, Daemon learns that, Lord Grover is still alive, but he's not really capable of doing a lot other than, laying in bed, which poses a problem for the blacks because it prevents, their armies from being raised in the name of Rhaenyra. So Daemon suggests to Oscar Tully that he kills his grandfather. He said, "Why don't you take a pillow and put it over his head?" And little Oscar was appalled at that. He was like, "What you mean? I love my grandfather. He raised me, as if I was his own son." And Daemon was like, "Well, now he understand why there's such a disarray in the Riverlands. And since House Bracken has declared for the Greens, he will instead seek the aid of House Blackwood." Okay, in the next scene, we have Princess Rhaenys on the docks of Driftmark, where she meets with Alan, the man who saved her husband's life. And she was telling him, "I'm told that my husband owes you his life." And she was saying that she didn't know that he was so comely. I looked it up, y'all. That means attractive. And then she put his hand on his face. Lord Corlys didn't like that. He suddenly appeared and hurry up and got Alan out the way. And Rhaenys was telling him that she know who he is, and that his mother must have been really beautiful. I said, "What Lord Corlys been doing? Lord Corlys been sneaking out." So anyway, that all insinuates that this man is Lord Corlys's child, okay? And so Lord Corlys gets uncomfortable, of course, when they get called on the carpet about their wrongdoings, everything is, they get touchy-feely. He didn't like that. So he hurried up and got Alan out the way, and he asked Rhaenys, "Is this why you came to see me?" And she was like, "Well, no, actually, she came, but she's going back to Dragonstone because Baela requested that she return because, the council is giving them hell, right?" And in Rhaenyra's absence, her and Jace have been trying to keep it together, but the council, keep giving them trouble. All right, in the next scene we have Allison, um, who is receiving a visit from the Grand Maester, um, at her request, uh, where he delivers some moon tea, the same moon tea that Rhaenyra took in season one that she got so much flack for. Here we have the old ass Allison taking some moon tea, which is kind of like a medieval abortion pill. Okay, and so Lord, the maester tells her that it may make you sick or it's got like side effects, and she thanks him for informing her about the side effects, while she's pretending that the moon tea is for somebody else, knowing damn well it's for her. So anyway, as the Grand Maester gets ready to leave, she asks him, what did he think? Did he think Viserys wanted who did he want as his heir? And but the Grand Maester says that he never brought up the subject with him, so he wouldn't know. But anyway, it's mighty funny you taking that same moon tea you gave Rhaenyra so much trouble for, so much flack about. Look at you. So the next thing we get is the Blacks Council, where Baylor and Jace struggle to hold court. So the council keep giving them crap. They keep asking about, have they heard from Daemon? But my favorite part was when Sir Alfred said she should have burned Cole them when she had the chance. And Baylor said, well, perhaps you can the next time you see him when you're on your dragon. In other words, you ain't got no dragon, shut the hell up. Okay. So as they're arguing, Sir Alfred and all of the rest of them just keep throwing out, where is Rhaenyra? Where have you heard from Daemon? We sent ravens. We haven't heard anything back from Daemon. Lord Corliss walks in and says that, our enemies on the march, and this all y'all can do is bicker and argue and claw for power, at this time. And they all shut up when Lord Carlos walks in because they only respect men. What do you expect? This is medieval times. Like this is before the feminist movement. So I expect this type of attitude. But these councils, they really not offering no advice, no nothing to help move the cause forward. All they doing is bickering and arguing and just being a problem. In my opinion, like I don't see how any of this would be allowed. Rhaenys was just basically saying well, that we have to trust Rhaenyra, and that Rhaenyra wants what everybody wants, which is an end to this. So, okay, in the next scene, we have Christian Cole conquering another castle. He is telling the men that either they pledge fealty to King Aegon or they will have their death, where he then takes the Lord Darkland. And Lord Darkland tells him that you're not fit for the white coat, and he spits at him. And Christian Cole told him this is a better death than the traitor deserves. And Lord Dawson basically told him you're gonna get yours before Christian Cole beheaded him. So in the next scene, we have the Greens Council where King Aegon is upset and yelling at Larys because he's mad that he's found out that Daemon has Harrenhal. And he's yelling at Larys because, that's his castle. And Larys was like, that castle more crippled than me. He was like, it's going to drive Daemon crazy trying to make use of it. So anyway, King Aegon was like, I'm not going to be made to look a fool. I need to be informed of things. So Aemond stands up. Well, Aemond says Harrenhal can wait. He wants to, he said that Kristen Cole is advancing on Rook's arrest and it'll officially have Rhaenyra cut off by land. And so Aegon was like, no, I want Harrenhal back. What you talking about? I want Harrenhal back. So Aegon was like, well, how did you know? And Aemond said he sent word to me. He was like he sent word to you, so y'all been uh making plans without my authority. So then Aemond started speaking in High Valyrian. I said, oh, okay, it's gonna go down now. Whenever they pull that High Valyrian out, it's going down. So Aemond was telling him, while you was putting imbeciles, and lick spittles on the King's Guard, I was like, what's a lick spittle? Because when Viserys said that, I said, what is a lick spittle? So a lick spittle is a person who kisses up to authority to get some advantage from them. So in other words, Laris is a lick spittle. A ass kisser is a lick spittle, right? So then he was like, "You've been filling up the King's Guard with assholes instead of strategizing on how to win this war." And he basically sunned him in front of in front of the whole council. And when he was talking to him in High Valerian, I guess he was just like Daemon. He didn't really pay attention because I don't think he really understands it because he didn't really know how to respond. He said it was Rook's arrest was a worthy effort, don't you think, my king? And he couldn't even do nothing but sit there and look. He couldn't really respond. He knew he had been sunned in front of the whole council, the council, and he don't like it. So now we have Queen Alicent, um, who was noticeably absent from the council meeting. So Laris goes to visit her, and says he comes to check on her since he noticed her missing from the meeting, and she was over there struggling because the moon tea that she just took, it gives you like guttural issues, like the maester was saying. It makes you sick. So she over there struggling, heating up rocks to to put on her lower abdomen, and she over there lying, talking about I ventured into the Lamberry pie too much, late evening. And Larry looked right down at the moon tea. He knew exactly what it was. And he was like, yeah, that is a rich indulgence. Because, he got a thing for Allison, too. Remember, she used to let him rub on her feet or whatever he was doing when he was calling himself being after Allison. But anyway, basically, he noticed that she was also looking through some history books, and he was asking her, he was telling her, "I didn't know that you had an affinity for the histories." And she said, "Well, if not an affinity, abiding interest," which is a lie. She didn't have no interest in the histories ever since Rhaenyra told her about Aegon's Song of Ice and Fire, and that her father was a story that he used to tell. She's not royalty, so she doesn't know those stories. So she went back to see if there was any historical reference, and try to find out what she can find out. But at the end of the day, she was basically saying, Aegon's side gonna believe him, Rhaenyra's side gonna believe her. Whoever win the war gonna ascend to the throne in the end, and that whatever Viserys' intentions was died with him. All right, so now we're back at Harrenhal. Daemon is hearing noises outside his room. Okay, he goes to investigate and he spots someone who appears to be his nephew, Aemond. So he follows him, and in pursuit, when he catches up to him, is not Aemon, but is his own face, is himself. And so then he stumbles into the quarters of Alice Rivers, and he was like, Alice was like, it's a touch late to be stalking about a strange castle, putting his people to the sword. And so Damon was like, you. And she was like, my name is Alice. And he was like, strong? And she was like, no, Rivers. And he was like, a bastard. She was like, well, once you get to know me, I'm not so bad. She was cute. She wasn't scared of him at all. Um, he was like, so what are you, some kind of maester? And she was like, something like that. The last one left in a hurry in the middle of the night, and he was like, why? So she started explaining that, she knew that he wasn't sleeping well, and that might have something to do with Harrenhal being cursed, and that Harren the Black had used weirwood trees, in the building of the castle, and that the very bed that he slept in was made from those weirwood trees. And she asked him, was he having trouble sleeping? And um, she said that she knew he was there after quarreling with his wife, and that he was trying to raise an army to his side. And Daemon got pissed at her, but he still accepted her offer of a potion to help him sleep better. So then he finds himself in the dining hall the next morning in the company of Sir Simon and Sir William Blackwood. Sir Blackwood explained that he had admiration for Rhaenyra, as he was once a suitor for her, and that Daemon started seeing visions again. He started seeing Lena while Sir Blackwood was talking, and he thought the lady who was serving them was Lena, but the lady didn't look nothing like Lena. Um, but Sir William pledged his armies and his house, and that House Bracken would be made to answer for their treachery. Okay, so we're back at another Green Council meeting where King Aegon is playing with this ball. And I was like, what is the significance of that ball? So I looked it up. It's kind of like, how you go to work and you clock in? It's like, I'm here, I'm present, I'm ready to be involved with the meeting. Everybody doesn't clock in. Some of us are salaried, but it's the same principle. You're present and you're ready to engage in the meeting. So anyway, King Aegon is sitting there listening to the rest of the council praise Aemond and Sir Kristen, and he can't handle it. So of course he gets up and he scoffs out. He's not having none of that. He tells everybody that they bore him, and he gets up and he leaves. And so as he enters his quarters, his mother is there, and he was like, "What are you doing here?" And she was like, "Where are your father's books?" And she was scolding him for throwing out his father's books, and he said that he didn't throw them out. He had them removed. He didn't burn them. So anyway, he confesses that he they don't listen to him. They don't ask what he think. They just pursuing their own campaign without asking for his input. And she said, "What input would you have? Like, you know, do you think simply wearing the crown imbues you with wisdom?" Like, and he can't answer her. He's looking at her like, "I'm the king." And she was like, she was hoping that he would listen to the more studied minds around him, that had earned their seats, that and that they had been in power for years, that he would silently like listen from them and learn from his advisors, so that he might be half the king that his father was, which angered Aegon, of course. And he tells her, tread carefully. And she was like, "Oh, what you gonna do? You gonna hang me like your rat catchers?" And she was saying that um instead of banishing his hand, that he should be begging them for their opinions and counsel rather than the other way around, and saying that he have no idea what sacrifices were made to put him on the throne. And so he asks her, what should I do? And she says, the one thing that's required of you, nothing. Which I think that Aegon wants to be considered as important because he's the king, but he doesn't really know how to be king. He doesn't really have any wise counsel to add to any conversation. He's not patient enough to listen and learn, but he feels like he's the king. He's got the power. Y'all need to listen to me. I'm the man. So Sir Kristen arrives and gathers the men to advance on Rook's Rest. Sir Gawain says that the best course of action is to rest and wait until nightfall to conduct their attack, but Kristen Cole insists on pushing forward, striking at daylight. He said they won't be expecting it. Sir Gawain was like, yeah, they won't be expecting it because it's crazy. Because, they just got attacked by Baylor's dragon. So he doesn't want to get burned up. But anyway, Sir Kristen won't have it. He insists that he's very confident in his plan to move forward. And they begin marching their encampment towards Rook's Rest. Okay. Then we go back to the Blacks Council, where Jace is stating that they need to send a dragon, and Rhaenyra walks in and says, "Where?" So everybody is insisting that they need to send a dragon. It's not just Rhaenyra's is her ultimately her choice to make, but all of these people keep telling her she need to send a dragon. Okay, so Rhaenyra relents and she says that she'll go. Well, of course they tell her she can't go. She's the crown. Jace tells her if it's something should befall her, all will be lost. So she can't go. She can't go. Jace insists he can go. Rhaenyra's already lost one son. She's not about to send him on a mission like that. So Rhaenys, the badass that she is, she steps up and says that you must send me. She said Meleys is your biggest dragon and she's been to battle before. And Rhaenys knows that she is expendable, whereas Rhaenyra is not. So Rhaenys, the baddie, steps up and says, I will go and meet Kristen Cole. I said, go ahead, Rhaenys. So King Aegon sitting around sulking, thinking about everything that they have told him recently, and he scoffs off like a spoiled child and decides that you know what, I'm going anyway. I don't care what they say, I'm going anyway. I can fight just like they can. Okay, so then they show Rhaenyra speaking to Jace. She's telling Jace that there's something that she should have told him when he became the heir. And he's like, What is it? I'm like, yeah, what is it? So she tells him about Aegon's Song of Ice and Fire. I said, I wish they come on and tell about whatever this Song of Ice and Fire is, because they are really dragging this out. For those of us who haven't read the book, it's very annoying. But anyway, so King Aegon is getting liquored up to go do his business, and he's getting suited up to adorn his dragon. Y'all, what are these little people here? The ones that tend to the dragons with these sticks. What are they gonna do with those little sticks? Like, do they know that dragons breathe fire? I mean, like, what are they doing with them little sticks? Do they really think they managing the dragons with them little sticks, y'all? I just really want to know. Okay, so anyway, they show King Aegon dressing up to adorn his dragon. They show Rhaenys who goes out to meet Meleys, and they get ready to go on their journey to fight. I say, y'all, we're gonna get a real live dragon battle, right? So they show Kristen Cole's army forging forward, and Rhaenys spots them. And Rhaenys goes straight to business. She gets to burning up soldiers, right? And so, um, so they Meleys is spotted in the air, and this forced the Greens to retreat back to the tree line, where Sir Gawain fusses at Kristen Cole and say, "Now this is the exact reason why." He didn't want to go to a daytime attack, but Kristen Cole reveals that this is part of his plans. So, um, he alerts his soldiers and tells them to send the signal. And Sir Graham was like, "What signal?" So at that same moment, Aegon sees the king and Sunfire enter into the fray. Um, they're all pissed because everybody knows he's not supposed to be there. Okay, so with King Aegon's unexpected entry into the fray, it kind of throws their plan into disarray. So Kristen Cole tries to boost morale and revising the retreat, caused by those levies, sending the rest of his army into battle. So Kristen Cole presses forward towards Rook's Rest. Okay, so Sunfire and Meleese tie up. Sunfire gets beat up. Meleese scratches him all up. And so we get a real live dragon battle with Sunfire and Meleese going at it. So Rhaenys and Aegon spot Aemond and Vhagar advancing on them. So initially, Aegon was relieved to see his brother's intervention until he gets attacked by Vhagar because Aemon can't really control Vhagar. Okay, so what happens is Vhagar burns Sunfire to the horror of everyone. Sunfire goes down. Okay, so after Sunfire and King Aegon go down, Vhagar turns his attentions to Meleese. Meleese and Vhagar tie up, and after a much valiant effort, Meleese succumbs to Vhagar's bite, and Rhaenys understands that they have lost, and she descends and falls to her death. Okay, this is Meleese and Princess Rhaenys' crash site. Okay, after Christian Cole wakes up, he eventually makes his way through the carnage to Aegon's crash site, um, where he finds Prince Aemond with his sword out. Don't know what he was getting ready to do, but he stops him by calling his name. And Kristen asks Aegon, where is King? He asks Aemon, where is King Aegon? And Aemon just points with his knife forward, and we see the shattered body of Sunfire and King Aegon. And Kristen Cole collapses to his knees in shock as Aemon departs. And that is the end of episode 4, The Red Dragon and the Gold. What did y'all think? I say bravo. Bravo, y'all. We got a real live dragon battle, and I am here for it. So I really, really, really enjoyed this episode. Did y'all enjoy this episode? It was epic. I thought it was really interesting that Aegon could not resign himself to being a placeholder and puppet, which is what they really intended for him to be. And he decided he was going to show them that he is a man and he can fight, and he is just as fearsome as Aemon and Kristen Cole. to his detriment. Okay, Aemond showed his thirsty side, and that he really does want to be king. He's got that second son syndrome, like Daemon has. I also like the scene where Alicent told King Aegon when he said, "Tread carefully." She was like, "Or what? What you gonna do? Hang me like your rat catchers?" Or ban me like you did your hand. I said, get him, Allison, let him know. Um, I also liked the scene where Baylor told Sir Alfred, where he was telling her, well, you should have burned them when you had the chance. And she was like, okay, well, next time you can burn them when you're on your dragon. In other words, you ain't got no dragon, so shut the hell up. But anyway, y'all, this episode was very, very good. But the piece de resistance was the epic dragon battle where we lost the beautiful Princess Rhaenys and King Aegon. So y'all get down in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Do you have a favorite scene? Um, thank you guys for watching, and until the next time, peace.